when we were doing season 2, that was a really complicated thing to pull off because, first of all, my parents have been trying to sell the house I lived in for the last 12 years of my life. It's where every movie I have ever made was shot in that house. Every TV show I've done. And, looking back on it, thank God I pulled out Heavy Duty when I did. Because for the most part, if I pulled it out after we moved out of that house, Heavy Duty would never exist. It wouldn't exist. Just that small tape that we did back in 2009 would exist. And, they had the for sale sign out for quite a while, ever since January. And by July, which is when the first season was airing, I said to myself, you know what, no one's going to buy the house. It's bad economy, it's not really on the market, so no one's really going to buy the house. So the for sale sign had been sitting out there for months. So at that point, I was just like, okay, no one's going to buy the house, so just forget it. Then August comes around, and the Glasses episode just airs. And now Dan and I are working on the Dog episode, which is the season 1 finale. At the time, it was the series. And I was talking to Dan that day, and he said, with Joe and Nick gone, they're in the opening of the show in the first season. If they're not in the second season, you're going to have to change the opening because they're no longer in the show. So I thought, okay, we'll split it into 2 seasons. So when your character comes in and when Mike's character comes in, I'll change it into season 2. And we'll do a different opening. And that's what we did. So at that point, the show became 2 seasons. So I said, okay. So we were filming the scene with Dan and I talking in the Dog episode where Joe just ran over the dog and he got sent away to jail. So now we're basically just talking. We're doing that final scene, and we had such a hard time. If you've seen the bloopers, we had a hard time getting through that last scene. And then we filmed a couple of scenes for the next few episodes: the chambermaid, the new boss, the golf game, the treadmill. We did a few episodes after that, and then he goes home. And the second he left, I come downstairs to get something to eat, because it was towards the end of August, and school was starting next week, college. I go downstairs, and my mom hangs up the phone, and she says, Andrew, I just got off the phone with someone who wants to buy the house. We're going to settlement. We got to be out of the house by the end of September.
Andrew was moving out of the house. So we shot the rest of the new boss, and then pretty much 6 or 7 episodes after that. And it was something. It was quite an experience.
Basically, when it came time for Andrew to move, we kind of sped up the filming process, and what would have been maybe an hour or 2 one day soon became 4 or 5 hours one day, shooting all together maybe as much as 4 episodes in one day. So we pretty much rushed the whole thing, but I don't think you can notice.
Elena, all her scenes were done in a day, but Mike, he kept having to come back, and Dan had to keep coming back. And with Mike, it was complicated because he goes to a college out of state. So once he left, that was it. We couldn't get him back. So we had to do all his scenes first, and this was hard to do because I had seasons 1 and 2 combined as a whole, 16 episodes, but alone, season 2 was 11 episodes. Well, now it's 13 because, in August and September when we filmed season 2, the holiday chaos wasn't planned at that time. We didn't do holiday chaos until November. But at that time, it was only 11 episodes. Holiday chaos didn't exist yet. But what we did was, I had to have Mike come back, and we did all his scenes first. I didn't even want to talk to Dan, because Dan and I were going to the same college, so he wasn't going to go anywhere. I could still get him. It was Mike I couldn't get. So I had to write out all of these episodes, one after the other, and I had to figure out what clothes they were wearing, so I could, when the scenes are put together, when this is all edited, it would look good, So I had to figure out wardrobe design. I had to figure out where the characters were going to stand, what we were going to say, where this was going to be shot. And this is for 11 episodes. We just started shooting the first 2 episodes of season 2. And already, I gotta have my entire room packed up in a box in boxes, I should say, within 4 weeks. Plus I got college, I'm going nuts here.
And then the third day we finally finished everything and we made sure to get all the shots we needed. And then we went off to school.
We get Mike's scenes done. We get them done. With only a day left to spare before he left for college. So thank God we got that done. And he left, and I said, just check YouTube. Just check YouTube for updates. Check my Facebook status for updates, and I'll let you know when they air. And he got really excited to see what this was going to look like. And I did too, because I didn't know what this was going to look like. No one knew. Because a lot of people thought I knew. I had no idea. I was just trying to film this show to put it together before we moved out, So what we did was, at that point, I filmed Dan doing all of his scenes. And after that, he left and we got his stuff done.
It's not necessarily exhausting. It's only exhausting when you're already tired from, lack of sleep, hard day at school, or just a long day. But it wasn't that bad at all.
It was around late September, and I had about 4 days left. It was about 4 days left until we left, because we had to be out of the house by September 30th. So this was like the 26th or the 27th. My room still is packed with stuff, because this was a hard thing to shoot, because I remember telling my mom and dad, because we shot the show all over the house. Downstairs was Mr. Draker's house, and upstairs in my bedroom was Joe's bedroom. So I couldn't take anything down. I couldn't demolish the sets because they had to still stay up. So I remember begging with my parents saying, please, don't remove the couch just yet. I still had to get some scenes in the den. Don't remove anything in the living room. We're not done in the living room yet. We're not done. And I was trying to get the show underway. I was filming day after day after day. For a month this went on, and I thought I was losing my mind. And finally, we get all of downstairs filmed. So finally, I tell my parents, now you can pack up everything. But then I forgot the Halloween episode wasn't done yet. So I had to go downstairs, and my parents just left the house to look at some houses. And Regina was with them too, my sister. So I had about an hour and a half alone in the house at night. And this was in the middle of September. So I got the camera and I was shooting all of my scenes. So when you watch the horror episode, that's what that was like. And if you look around very close on the set, you'll see a lot of things are missing off the walls. And there's some cushions that are missing. There's a lot of, there's barely anything. And halfway through the first season, in the pilot episode, you notice that my house where I sit in the recliner, the wall behind me was yellow, and by like the second or third episode it was white. My dad was painting the house because we were selling it, okay? But at the time we weren't selling it at the time, but he wanted to paint the walls white anyway in case anyone wanted to walk through. So that's what we did. So anyway, to make a long story short, it's fine. September 28th comes. Now we're getting closer. So now all I have to film left are my scenes. And these all take place in Joe's bedroom. So I can't touch my bedroom. I can't. The shelf is still up. All my TV shows are still up. My television, my desk, my room still looks the same. My room looks like I'm not moving yet. And we got 2 days left to move out. I got to pack up my entire bedroom in 2 days, which is unheard of. So I'm filming all of my shots. I'm filming all my scenes. Not to mention, I still have the Comedy Hour, The Crazy Kids, which was another show I was doing. I had all these movies I had to get done. I was wrapping up everything I was doing at the house, which was really, really hard for me to do. So finally, on the 29th, 1 day before settlement, I officially wrap up the show. And I had little notes on my computer, because in my mind the show was being edited on Microsoft Word because I didn't have time to edit the episodes, and I didn't want to have an episode where I would leave this house, go back to the footage and realize, oh crap, we forgot to film this, we forgot to film that. So I didn't want that happening. So I wanted to make sure we had everything before I walked out of that house, because once I walked out there was no going back. And if one episode didn't make sense, it would be wiped off. And so far, I have not run into that problem. So far, so good. Every episode seems to be going pretty well. There have been a few glitches here and there, but so far, so good, right? So anyway, the 28th comes around, and I realized, okay, we're gonna do a season 2. And I posted the trailer for the new season, which is the one, the trailer where I got "Baby Did a Bad Bad Thing." I got that song playing, and we do the. I'm showing you clips from the new season. About 1 hour goes by after that trailer goes on the air. We lose the internet. And that was the last thing I ever posted in my old house. That was the final thing I ever posted. But it's amazing because I was going to clean up my bedroom at that point, and then I was going to upload it. So thank God I uploaded it ahead of time.
Tobey Maguire Drakers.
Where did we come up with the name? The name, okay. It was actually on the set of the golf game episode where Mike and I were talking, and I said, "Mike, do you want to use your real name?" And he said, "Well, I don't know. Do you want me to do that?" And I said, "Not really, because like Joe, Andrew, Nick, Dan, those are all real names. Elena, do you want to change your name?" And he came up with this idea, Tobey Maguire. What if my name was Tobey Maguire Drakers or something? But that was that was my idea. His idea was just Toby. And the first thing that popped into my head was Tobey Maguire, and I said, wait, what if that was your middle name, Tobey Maguire Drakers, and you got framed for, like the Spider-Man jokes, and they never stopped coming at you. And he thought that was a pretty good idea, and it was. And we got a lot more jokes coming at you with his name, clever jokes. They're not the same thing, but they're kind of clever.
I'd love to have like a really funny name and then wait till like the end of the season to reveal it. But, I mean, I think the way we revealed it in the golf game was good, because then it set up the premise for the Spider-Man jokes, which some of them were so funny. You can see me laughing on camera. You can see me. Like in the holiday chaos, the horror, I'm like trying to hold it in, trying not to laugh.
It was a very interesting experience, and like now I'm actually on YouTube for different things. I mean, other than maybe like little like clips from like spring concerts, I'm actually on a solid like YouTube video series, so I'm happy with it.
Well, season 3, it's going to be really interesting because the different format we have is that we're writing the episodes beforehand. We're planning everything out, and I get to write an episode this season. It's great, but it's a big challenge. Writing comedy is really difficult, and I mean I give so much credit to Andrew for seasons 1 and 2 because everything was pretty much his idea. I mean, he's great in the fact that he'd let us contribute ideas for what our characters would do or what would happen in the episode, but it's all Andrew really, and I'm so happy that I'm able to take part in creating an episode for season 3, and I think it's really going to be great, and you're really going to enjoy it.
Heavy Duty is a fun show to watch. I'm glad we're coming back for a 3rd season in the fall 2012. We got some new characters coming to the show. Whole new setting, whole new background. It's going to work out great. I know it will. And I know it's going to work out better because we're writing scripts, because I never wrote the show with a script before in the first 2 seasons. I wrote the show the way Larry David writes Curb Your Enthusiasm. There would be a paragraph or two of, like a scenario of something, but there would be no dialogue. It's all improv. And if you watch the show, you can see it's improv. But in the new season, which airs this fall, I think we're going to have a lot of good jokes, a lot more setup, a lot more creativity with these characters. And I think this show is going to be around for a little while. I think we're going to be here for a while. And I really enjoy doing this show. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the season. January 28th, we return.